Welcome to the shit show.
It is the All Elite Wrap-Up for September 19th, 2024. Tom, Dynamite was last night. We are fresh off the, we had the All In, the All Out, all of that craziness. We're kind of venturing away from those stories, venturing into some new stories. And we had, in my view, somewhat of a transitional Dynamite last night. And I think we're going to discuss that in depth tonight, obviously, as we want to do here on the All Elite Wrap-Up. Before we get into that, and before we get into Tom's feelings, I want to remind everybody to go to allelitewrapup.com, right? Sign up there. Subscription is free. It's fucking free, right? And you can go there without subscribing, but subscribing will let you know when we're going live. And we do this live on YouTube Thursday nights, 7 p.m. in the one true time zone, Mahomes Standard Time. And that's where you also can find all the links that you might need, right? The donate links if you want to donate us some money, right? The podcast links if you want to listen back and be a podcast listener, right? Like, we love you podcast listeners, right? But you're not as cool as the cool kids here in the live chat, right? Now, we're welcoming of you. We want you to be a part of the cool kids. So join in the chat sometime when you can. And if not, then you can also hit us up on the email, aewrapup@gmail.com. You can send us audio clips, video clips, handwritten emails, hand-typed emails, whatever it is. And right now in the chat live with us, we've got the Wrestling with No Neurodivergence pod, who says, hi, Thomas.
Hello.
Thomas said, yo. And Cool Cam is in the chat. Says, hey, is Cutie Marshall going to be on tonight?
Damn it. So here was the thing. Cool Cam, I'm so glad you asked. So we actually had him booked, but it was last week. And as you recall, I was on vacation in Seattle, and we decided it would be weird if
I
did pre-recorded. Yeah. So if I pre-recorded my side and then we spliced it, so it wouldn't have gone well. Right.
Yeah.
So we let Cutie know. He was upset.
Sorry, Cutie.
He cried.
Yeah. He's sad every time he gets bumped, and it just.
Yeah, but he said, I'm ready. And then we forgot because, hey, I'm back.
He's our biggest fan.
I'm back.
He's our biggest fan, Cutie Marshall.
He loves
us.
Our
biggest fan.
He loves us. Cutie.
But Tom is back. Do you feel right? Is all well? How was Seattle? Did you see Swerve while you were up there?
I didn't. Here's the thing about Seattle that I did not know, and I got hit right in the face with pretty quickly. No. That's fine. Everyone, at least in downtown Seattle, fucking smokes cigarettes. It's the grossest thing in the world.
That's a thing.
That's what I was saying. I was like, fucking take it.
Sell those in stores anymore? Where do you get cigarettes? I feel like you can get marijuana easier than you can get cigarettes.
Oh, actually, my wife, for one of her last classes when she got her master's, she did a study on public health and where cigarettes are sold, and you would be shocked that it is only in the ghettos of Kansas City.
Would I be shocked?
No, but I'm saying like they don't.
I would still be surprised. Yeah,
but they don't even sell it in the plaza, nice areas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would not be shocked, but I think I may be shocked at the extent of which how I should have.
Yes,
been shocked,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, so everyone smoked cigarettes, and I hate cigarette smoke. Well, first off, just complete transparency, I hate smoke. I don't like fire smoke. I don't like cigarette smoke. I don't like weed smoke. Here's the thing. In Missouri, marijuana is legal. Fucking grow up and have an edible. I'm tired of smelling the shit. I'm tired of walking through your smoke. I fucking hate it. I hate smoke. I don't like it. It's the worst thing in the world. So I was kind of aggravated.
So you're not coming over to the bonfire party later?
No. Oh, God. I was always the first person that would be like, oh, that's cool. Hey, I think I need to get some chocolate from inside the house. And I just wouldn't go back out, I hate smoke.
So you're not doing the s'mores. You're not doing that.
No, well, I like s'mores. I do like s'mores, but I don't like making them. Fucking you make them, give them to me.
You make it, bring it over to me.
Yeah. I hate smoke. I hate it. But, so that was interesting. The coolest thing though about Seattle for me, and it was a little bit of a kind of we lucked into it kind of thing, is we got a private tour of T-Mobile Park where the Seattle Mariners play, also where WrestleMania 19 was. I let the guy know that too. He didn't know. He's like, oh, I was like, yeah, motherfucker. He's like, that's cool. But it was just me and Emily, no one else. We got to go through all
That's
the different
neat.
areas.
That's cool. It was just you two. You think they were like, somebody bought the tour? Okay.
Well, so we bought the earliest one.
Oh,
So
okay.
on game day, apparently
Gotcha.
there's a 10:30, 12:30, and then there's like a 3:30.
So it wasn't
And-
a tour nobody takes. It's just you were the first of the day and nobody else booked
Yes,
that.
yeah.
Okay. That
He
makes-
says typically 12:30, and then the closer, because then they just stay and then go to the game, is packed. And so I was like, well, that we fucking.
those are great because sometimes they're like, you want to go meet the president of the, you know what I mean? Like, he was just like,
Yeah.
we got nothing else to show you now. You know, like, we ran out of time. Let's go show you the cool stuff. Yeah.
Well, you know what we started with? We met the team dog. We saw a
That's
golden
awesome.
retriever running in the outfield, and I was like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Oh, Hunter. He's the team dog." And so we walked down there. And
Wrestling with Neurodivergence Pod said, Tom, Amanda, and Gary agree with you. Grow up and have an edible. Remember,
Yeah.
Fuck Your Mama 2 times said edibles are for children. So you guys have some conflicting fights there.
Well, I mean,
Listen, I do a lot of smoking, as it were, but not like out in public. If I'm going out in public, I'm bringing an edible, generally, potentially a vape or
yes,
something.
you
but
do.
yeah, right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was very. Yeah, when we were in
Yeah.
Chicago, you were all doing the
Yeah.
edibles, and that was very,
Right.
very nice of you. You
Yeah.
didn't know that I hated smoke that much. But it
No,
was very
no.
nice of you. Yeah.
No, I remember
Um,
I was like, you want some this? And you were like, no. And I was like, well, wait, it's an edible. And you're like, oh,
Yeah.
your whole expression
Yeah.
changed. You were like, all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
fun. Chicago, another place where, again, easier to
Chicago's
find that than it is cigarettes, I feel like. Who's
Yes.
smoking cigarettes
Yeah.
back to the point that we were at?
Downtown Seattle. So we did the Space Needle. We went to this glass museum that was pretty incredible. Got to go to the Seattle Kraken team store because Crack It Up. Got
Crack It
hockey
Up.
coming up soon. So yeah, it was
I
an
think these
enjoyable trip.
the WWND pod folks, I don't know if they're hockey folks. They're from that area, I believe. I think they may be hockey inclined. We'll have to check the
Yanni Gord.
the chat.
Yanni
I don't know if they're
Gord.
sports folks. You know,
Well,
they're
Yanni
full sports
Gord
folks.
is the coolest fucking
Yeah, Wisconsin.
describe.
That's right. I knew it was up there somewhere.
Jeez.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
here's the thing though. Yanni Gord is the best described athlete of all time. They describe him as a ball of hate on skates. And I was like, that's the fucking best. Cause he is. He just hits everyone hard as fuck. He's not big. There's nothing intimidating about him until you start skating with him and you're like, oh, this guy, like,
Man,
he has like a Darby Allin kind of feel to him.
Now
You know what I
listen.
mean?
growing up in Kansas, right? Wasn't doing a whole lot of ice skating. But to this day, it doesn't happen well, right? Like, I need to be near the wall. I don't have the, on the court, I'm spinning around. You know what I mean? Like, we're playing back, but you get me on the skates, and suddenly I've lost all balance. It's just not there. I don't know. It's a whole different animal. Animal.
I think I've told this on the podcast in a previous iteration of this podcast, but I'll say it again on the All Elite wrap up. I can skate really well, roller skate. Doom, doom, doom.
Okay.
I can do all the stuff. So there was one time, I want to say I was like 6th grade, maybe 5th grade, but I fell. I was fucking around. I think I was like trying to skate backwards. I tripped over myself, boom. But I went like on my stomach, like chest and stomach first, went out, and someone rolled over my fingers, right? The only thing I've ever thought with ice skating is if that happened to me, I've got no fingers. So I've never ice skate. I've only rolled because I'm like, I'm too afraid of that
dangerous.
shit.
Well, I don't like the cold.
I do. I like cold. I like cold.
Yeah, so,
I like being cold and warming up. You know what I mean? Like the cold weather football games and stuff like that. Cause you're like, hey, the only way I'm going to get warm is by fucking hitting you in the chest. And so, whap, and it's best.
little
Love
insight to Tom's psyche there, right?
Oh,
I need
man.
warmth. What can I do? Now it's in
Yeah.
a sanctioned event where you're supposed to
exactly.
do that, right?
Yeah.
It's not a psychopath. So
I mean,
we're here to talk about All Elite Wrestling, though. Unless there's anything else from Seattle,
No.
are you
No, it
wanted
was
there
very
now? Did you have to
fun.
flee suddenly or anything? Or
no, not that I'm aware of. It was good. Oh, the other thing about Seattle, I will say one thing did not
Mhm.
realize, big Italian place. A lot of great Italian restaurants. And I did not consider that. And they're like, yeah, no. Because seafood, Alfredo, and all of that. So I was like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Okay.
We did go to the
interesting.
Locks and we watched Seals and what's the fuck's the other one? I can't remember, but it was Seals just murdering salmon. It was so cool. They were just eating them on bloods everywhere. I was like, this is my kind of hanging out. I like it.
Tom's like, I might move here. I need to watch this violence every day. You're gonna watch this violence every day for free.
Yeah.
Why do you do anything else?
Yeah. I don't get it.
Why
I don't get what you guys are doing.
Why would you do? But we encourage everybody in the chat, as they've been doing, right? Chime in on the chat as we talk about tonight's or last night's Dynamite, as it were, and anything else that may come to mind and spring up. Hit us up. Follow us on Threads, all_elite_wrap-up, where Tom, typically, sometimes me, is out there threading away during the live shows.
Did great last week. I was reading them, really done well, because we were at the Mariners game while Dynamite was going on. Oh, that was another cool thing is we were in the club level because that's how we ball. That's how we roll.
Yeah.
But there's two TVs. They were showing like another game, but then they also showed AEW Dynamite. And I was like, this is fucking cool. I couldn't hear it, obviously, but I was watching it. So that was fun. But I was following your thread. You did a really good job. I was
providing commentary for you. Isn't that great?
Yeah, definitely.
Isn't that great? So yeah, follow us there, interact with us there, do the chats live, do the emails, and she said Lisa can sometimes tell the difference between Tim and Tom on Threads. I'm missing autism. I think there's definitely patterns of speech that would probably give it away, probably.
I don't know why I'm in this like sharing mode, but I am. I don't care. So here's another thing is I always thought people would fuck with me because I'm old enough to where we used to handwrite notes to people, right? You'd handwrite a note and give it to someone, but I always thought like someone's going to say, I wrote that shit and I didn't write it. You know what I'm saying? Like I gave a note to someone and they're like, Thomas said that I fucking stink or whatever, right? So the thing that I would always do that I only realized, maybe someone else did because I'm not that fucking smart, but I would never use an I. I would always use a Y. So time would be TYME. So I would like, that's how I know I fucking wrote it. And so that's one thing I did. Anyhow.
The Wrestling with Neurodivergence pod wanted to clarify they meant, in parentheses, her autism. They weren't just being like, we can tell the difference. Autism. You clearly they weren't diagnosing from afar, as it were, which I understood. I did understand that, but thanks for clarifying. Yeah, that's great.
So let's talk about last night. So we had a match that kicked off AEW Dynamite, and it was a match.
Yeah,
Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Now, here's what I'll say. I do like the idea that this was at the time during the pandemic, one of the better feuds going in wrestling, right?
Yeah.
So I like the idea of, hey, it was good, but did people ever get to really experience it in person? No. So let's run it back. And we're doing the orange jacket and all of that. So I appreciate that. But I appreciate that. You know what I mean? The like, hey, everyone saw this on TV. Now see it in person. Okay, cool. But let's not keep going. That's all I'll say.
So one of the better feuds, I'll say it was one of the more notable ones because, Orange Cassidy was like on a height at the time. He was really on a heavy run. And Chris Jericho was kind of a big feature of pandemic AEW. Oh, yeah. But when I look back, the feud itself, we had a vat of orange juice, right? Like it was always a little like, I was like, boy, Jericho's writing all of this, right? Like it was pretty clear.
The debate.
It was good.
Remember the debate?
The debate was fun. Yeah, the debate was really cool. The debate is cool. Yeah. And it's very informative stuff from Orange there, if you ever want to play that back. But yeah, so I know, especially now with Chris Jericho now, am I looking forward to this? And look, I like that we start with matches a lot of the times on AEW, right? It's energy. But when you say Chris Jericho.
Yeah. Now, these two, I will say, they tried to give it their all, right? There was a spot outside through the table, I believe it was. There was some good, reversals. These two have good chemistry together.
Sure.
But Orange Cassidy ends up getting the victory. Obviously, on the outside, the learning tree and the conglomeration had their fun and all of that. So I guess here's the question I have for you. On their social media afterwards, Chris Jericho's like, yeah, Orange Cassidy, right? Are we done? Or what are we doing here?
I don't know. I also I don't know what we do. I hope we're done, right? But I don't know what to do with either or. I obviously I think with Jericho, they're leading into Big Bill's going to figure this out and get away from him. But like Orange is left with sad about his friends still. We did have that nugget thrown in there.
Yeah, but unfortunately, and I've only known this looking at social media, I believe both of them had like neck surgery or
I don't think that can happen again.
The best friends, the best friends might be like done performing in the ring.
Cool
But,
Cam says, has AEW progressed past the need for Jericho? Yes or yes?
oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Again, we've talked about this in the past where like using legends in cool spots makes the legend feel better as far as like perception, and you're not oversaturating it. Not that I'm saying he should be used this infrequently, but the way they use Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, right? He'll come in, he'll do a referee spot, or he'll be on the outside, and it's like, that's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That fucking rules.
So
do that with Jericho.
Here's my idea for folks. So you've got your Christopher Daniels, you've got your Chris Jerichos, right? You've got your Ricky Steamboats. Remember, we said this in real life, as weird to understand. This is a little peek behind the curtain, but the story's been told a million times. They do this sort of wrestler's court thing. They find a locker room leader, right? And they let them sort of decide issues and problems. So we've mentioned this. Have like the oracles or the board, or like there's 3 or 4 old timers sitting back there, and these guys are pleading their case or asking for advice or whatever, right? And so that's where you get these temporary, maybe some guy, quote unquote, manages a guy for a couple of weeks or whatever, or they give him some bad advice, or they right, say, no, clearly needs a match to, somebody gets their fucking, their junk cut off or whatever it is, right? They just make a declaration or something, right? That's easy stuff to use for them, and they don't have to be like the featured person, if that makes sense.
I agree. Well, and we've also talked about, because in real life, there's the Bloods and the Crips, and those members, if they don't go to jail or die, age out of doing the day-to-day activities, but then are still counseled for like, how do we handle X situation? Again, AEW's too new to have legacy groups, but like if you went to the WWE and did NWO and you just had Kevin Nash being like, hey, Damian Priest, this is how you handle a guy like Finn Balor, and they're in the NWO. You know what I mean? Something like that. Anyhow, but we digress. I think what you would do with Orange Cassidy is pivot. I think he's been great in AEW. I think he's one of the mainstays, the like signature wrestlers of AEW. However, we could take maybe a little break from him, and we could give him and his brand a little shine in a different promotion. I would say he needs to look at Mark Briscoe and say, hey, you're the ROH heavyweight champion. I've never been heavyweight champion. I think I want that title. And there you go. Conglomeration. What do we do? Where's Kyle O'Reilly in this? Where's Ishii?
You can even have these great moments where it'd be like, oh yeah, I see this row thing that you always got, right? And he'll be like, it's ROH. He'll be like, yeah, tell me more about it. And they'll be like, what do you mean ROH? Is like 20 years of, you know what I mean? Like he starts naming the thing and he's like, all right, cool. Hey, listen, can we wrestle for that? Right? Like he's just like, just gives no shit, right? Like he doesn't care. Yeah.
I think that's what you should do. That's my opinion, but we'll see what happens. But we move on. We go backstage. Actually, we go from footage aired, I guess, earlier in the day. I didn't exactly know when this was taking place, but it was really cool. Shot really interesting. We had Claudio and Pac talking to the camera, telling Yuta, hey, brother, we're the trios champs. We haven't seen you since the pay-per-view. What the fuck? Right? And Jon Moxley, Jon Moxley already is one of the coolest wrestlers, right? But with this like mysterious, what is he up to thing that has like the driving force, makes him so much fucking cooler. He already has the presence of a badass, but then you're like, oh, now he has a plan. What the fuck is this up? Like, oh God, right? Anyhow, Jon Moxley goes, hey, we're not holding you captive, but show up or we'll figure something out, right? Something like that effect. What do you think of this promo?
Well, I do like this, except, we were shown this later. Wheeler has been to work, right? He was at Collision. Didn't they know where now their paths didn't cross, okay? But,
exactly.
It is interesting that they seem to have a uniform, except Pac just it's gear and my hair is wet only. It's shorts, boots. Like, does he just travel light? Does he only carry like one of those basketball string draw sack,
If I look like him, I would never own a shirt.
That's true.
I swear to God, I would never have a shirt.
Not even a t-shirt, not like not a sleeveless, nothing.
Nope, too much. I want to show this off all the time.
Or some shorts and maybe a headband. And that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, seriously, I would never have a shirt.
You think
I
he has
would
like
throw
a
a shirt at you.
spray bottle to keep his hair wet at all times nearby?
Maybe.
Or
Or
is he
maybe he's
just
just
so
exercising.
angry that he's sweating so much that his hair is wet? He's just so
From
fucking
one
mad.
from one angry person to another, I do sweat a lot.
He's like,
so
feel how oily this shit is.
my head is already fucking damp. But we move on, and then we get Yuta, as you mentioned. Alex Marvez catching up with Yuta. They say Yuta was leaving the arena, which makes no sense because the show just started. But I guess maybe, hey, you just had like a quick meeting, and then that was all you're doing tonight. I don't know.
Well, you were leaving after you heard them say "show up," and you're like, "Nah, fuck this."
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
But what I liked about this is he's doing very well with the like
He's out of it.
disjointed,
Yeah,
disjointed,
he's in his own head,
confused
not aware of his
stuff.
surroundings.
Because he even
No.
said, he's like, yeah, I'll be there at Wrestle Dream. And they're like, no. It's Grand Slam. And he's like, oh, Grand Slam. Okay, yeah, I'll be there then too. And one thing that he mentions, kind of this weird, like using this, but for something else, is he said, Bryan Danielson said, you be proud of being a champion and you fight for what you have. So I'm going to do what Bryan Danielson said and join the people who tried to kill him. Like he didn't say that, but you know what I mean? Like that's kind of interesting how he used that. And so next week, Grand Slam, it looks like we're getting trios match. What do you think about that? How does that go down?
I think this is a good way to like stall for the week, right? But we honed in on that little thing that everybody was like, well, that's interesting. Yuta didn't know this was happening and he's distraught about it. So I like that. I don't think it's going to be the only way that it could have a major impact on the overall storyline is if he somehow is the precipice of what takes down the evil plot maybe that Moxley is on, right? Cool Cam brought up a good question here. He says, what do you think Yuta's ceiling is in AEW?
The thing so for me, the interesting thing about him is he has a presence of a veteran. Do you get what I'm saying? Like he carries himself like he's not afraid of the moment, or, nothing is too big that he can't handle as far as a promo, because he's gone a promo battle with MJF or a match, which remember the best match in Rampage history, John Moxley versus Yuta, for Yuta to join the BCC essentially. So he has that presence, but he hasn't actually done anything. So that's the weird thing, is you can't present him like a Claudio, right? Where you're like, hey, this motherfucker's done it all. So I think he could be a top guy, but not now. I think he has to go through the motions to get the experience. And then once that time has come, then he can be pushed. That's how I feel.
I think the height that we'd probably see him from what I've seen now is like maybe TNT title run, right?
It depends on how we're going to tell this story. That's also another thing too, is if you, like you said, if he's the one that after Danielson falls takes over the fight for AEW or whatever we're saying this is, well, then now let's elevate him a little bit. Yeah. But again, I don't think he's also not a day one kind of guy, right? We talk later with Mox and Claudio. They mentioned Private Party. He's not really that. So it's kind of, he's in
always
this weird,
been almost from the start of when we saw him around. He's been part of a group, right? Part of the lower part of the group.
Best friends and now BCC. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. I do think, like I said, in 3 years, I could see him as champion. Next 6 months, I think he should be main eventing Rampage. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I do like what they're doing now with him. And Wrestling with Neurodivergence Pod said, I think this is a good way to keep developing his character, and I agree.
Yeah, and he's doing great too. His acting is believable. Like I said,
I like that he almost left the belt. They were like, hey, he left this back here, and he was like, oh.
Yeah.
Shit.
I love this thing. Right. Yeah. And then he's like, I love this thing. Yeah. All right. So we get back in the ring and we had a match. It was Hook. Hook won. And then, I mean, do you want to talk about anything there?
I like more of the razzing between Roddy and Hook on the commentary. Or, I mean, Taz and Roddy on the commentary. Yeah, the match itself against, I don't know, Tattoo Tommy there, right? That's who that one was? Was Hook wrestling that dude, right? The guy with the
JD Inc.
JD Inc. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, what a match. Yeah. So again, coming out to get here, our in-ring matches, I'm left a little. I'm like, I know we were telling stories here with these things, but like,
But you couldn't have had Hook beat up Mike Bennett. That's what I didn't get. Who the fuck? Why do I fucking care? Like, if the feud is with Roderick Strong and he's got two guys that just hang around him, beat up one of those guys before you beat up Roderick Strong. Like,
yeah, why wouldn't you? Yeah, you have 2 weeks there where he can beat up both the guys. And then you do a 2-on-1 and he beats them both up. And now it's left to Roddy, right? He's like, geez, you guys suck.
Yeah, I don't know. That was interesting.
Should he stroke the mustache more, Roddy? Like, wouldn't you like if you had that? Wouldn't you sit there and be like, let's do that more, just to add the extra creep into it?
Well, he does look like a creep. He looks like a.
He looks creep. like a new cop or a molester or both.
Yeah, sometimes both. But I don't know. Less Roderick Strong, honestly, if I'm being honest. I
think we may be angering the Wrestling with Neurodivergence pod folks. I think there's some big fans of Roddy Strong there.
I think he's a good wrestler.
Oh, he's a great wrestler. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know if I care about him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'll agree with you there. I don't know that I've ever made a connection to him.
You liked the name thing when he was doing that. You like that.
I liked it, except he did it in the wrong moments, right?
Like, well, he did it last night. He did
in the interview. I don't like it, right? But I like, you know what I mean? I like him interrupting somebody that way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think again, to make him more interesting, hurt his neck again. Put him neck strong.
Yeah,
Go back to
neck
that.
Strong. Neck strong was great. I loved that. That was probably the height of when I was like, yeah, I'm into this guy, right? I'm into
Go back
here.
to it.
Or
go back to neck strong.
You could do the Rod Strong porn star gimmick, like I said, just straight up steal the Val Venus. You could do Roddy the Body, right? Like there's all kinds of things we could do with Roddy Strong. I agree.
Yeah. Speaking of things we can do to make people cooler, Alex Marvez talks to Private Party backstage, and boy, did they put on their big boy pants here.
Alex Marvez tonight was putting out his best work that I think we've ever seen, by the way. I never noticed like a weirdness or a problem with Marvez, and like he had some good lines. He did with the one that we just talked about with Wheeler Yuta. He was like, all right, I'm gonna get a word with Wheeler Yuta. Wheeler Yuta is walking by, not even looking. He's like, Wheeler, thanks for stopping. And he like just starts talking to him like Wheeler's like, what the fuck? Like, I had no intent on stopping. I thought it was a nice touch. Yeah, Alex Marvez. I was like, all right, guy, you got up to like a C-. He's doing great.
Did good.
But anyway, back to you. Sorry to interrupt.
But no, yeah. Side note, we'll get back to this because here's a side note that I noticed from the whole episode. Not a lot of star talent here, right? There was now I know Kenny Omega's out, right? But there's no Kenny Omega, but we had no Swerve Strickland. We had no MJF. Backstage, we did not have Renee Paquette. We don't have Adam Cole. We don't have Jay White. We don't have Powerhouse Hobbs. We don't have Miro. We don't have Keith Lee. Like Ricky Starks.
Hobbs.
I think he's hurt. I
know he's hurt, but like, how hurt is he? If he can be involved in this Mox thing, this thing gets so much even cooler than it already is.
Well, because he brought him in. Do you remember that? The way that Powerhouse Hobbs was brought in was Moxley needed some muscle, and Powerhouse Hobbs came in as like, I'll help you out. And then he started doing his own thing. Then he joined Team Taz.
Yeah. But Renee was there, says the Wrestling with Neurodivergence.
Oh, was he? Or was she? I guess I didn't.
We'll get to it. You'll read it. You'll be reminded. We'll see it.
Yeah, probably. But Private Party here doing the Yo, what up? What?
Yeah, because you guys have never beat anybody's ass. I haven't seen you guys beat anybody's ass.
That? Like, it's an open challenge, and then that just brought out the like gangster in you. Like, oh yeah, like what?
You're like, oh, now you're gonna see who we really are. Be like, oh, I'm sorry, you guys were pretending to be this fucking thing that you've been showing us. I don't know if that's better or worse. Yeah. Now listen, if we were to take Private Party there, right, as a baseline, cool, but out of nowhere here it felt wrong, right? And because that usually is like, there's something that like we know that they can back that up, right? Like, but as I've said, I've never seen you beat anybody's ass. I've barely seen you win matches, and you certainly didn't beat anybody's ass when doing so. So
yeah,
it fell a little flat with me.
If you were to do that, if you were to say, hey, we need to make this team more edgier, what I would have said is tell the audience, tell us that they have to become something different than what they are, because the Blackpool Combat Club, or whatever we're calling them, are killers. So we can't do this anymore. Like, we have to be something different, because we won't win as that against these people. That's what you would have said, in my opinion. But
yeah, the pod here, I'm just going to call them the pod sometimes. The Wrestling Neurodivergence pod. They said, but Tom, we did have Ospreay, Hangman, Okada, Takeshita, Fletcher. So AEW is an embarrassment of riches.
Oh yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you know, the
mainstream media names, right? Yeah.
Mercedes Moné was not here. Britt Baker was.
Ospreay and Hangman are up there, though. I'll give you that. At least Ospreay
Hangman
for sure. Yeah, and Hangman
is the fucking main character.
Hangman is the guy. He's the
cowboy.
But this is a cowboy shit podcast, by the way.
100%. Well, let's talk about that in just a moment, because I almost jumped off the horse. But before we get there, Renee Paquette, I forgot. There she is. She interviewed the patriarchy, and what was this? So Christian Cage does the introduce me as you should, the reigning, defending, undisputed next heavyweight,
amazing line,
awesome, great. But then Luchasaurus just like walks in front of the camera, past the shot, and then Christian Cage follows him, and here's Kip Sabian. Or no, excuse me. I think it was Nick Wayne who did it first. But here's Kip Sabian, and Christian Cage is like, "Hey, turn that off." And basically says, like, if you keep coming around me, I'm gonna kill you.
I mean, that's kind of what it was. Yeah, that part was the interesting thing. That's one where it felt. I mean, it again, caveat. I know this is a show and this is all scripted, but that's the part that felt raw and real, right? Like, where it felt like unscripted. And this is interesting, the Kip Sabian thing, right? Again, somebody hanging around the family, right? Like, stop hanging around my kid, right? Like, this could be interesting how they go with this route. Like, now he's trying to be protective of his boy, right? But like, Kip Sabian's still hanging around. And he's like, what is this?
Well, Kip Sabian, he also mentions Kip Sabian doesn't have a father. His father passed away. So maybe he's wanting
something. God, he said something just heart-stabbingly brutal. I forget the line, but he said something about like being more useless than his dead dad or something like
something like that. And
oh man, Christian Cage is so great. I love him so much.
Yeah, he's
such an evil prick. I don't know
he is unstoppable right now. Love him. So we get back into the ring. We do a women's tag team match, which we don't do a ton of. We got the Glamour, Mariah May, and Serena Deeb versus Queen Aminata and Yuki Sakazaki. Nailed it. I fucking nailed it. And I really did. What's up, bitch? I know how to say words.
Look, I'm a Deeb mark. We know that, right? Like, as soon as I saw Deeb, I'm paying attention, right? I'm ready to see this. I'm ready to see her murder somebody. I felt a little cheap on that, right? I don't feel like I got to see her murder somebody. And just felt like this was a kind of a throwaway segment ultimately, right? Until later the what we get with Mina, but
but with this match, AEW typically doesn't do you and you, let's team up. So that was weird that they just did this here, right? Because Deeb and Mariah May
connected,
I didn't, and they tried.
Like, I'm not turning down Deeb, right? Like, I want more Deeb on my TV, but I just felt like, I was like, why is she here? Right.
And it also feels like, we just had Mariah May win the championship at All In front of 55,000 plus. Here's your moment. And now we're just doing tag match because we're going to get Yuka Sakazaki next week at Grand Slam. What are we doing?
Yeah. I don't know.
And I know that she's still doing the like Tony Storm stuff, but have her like, Kip Sabian is stalking, air quotes, the patriarchy. Have Luther kind of be around Mariah May because it's like, I want that title back for Tony Storm. And she's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, do something like that because you had this momentum and then and we're on neutral right now.
It does feel like they don't know what to do, right? They were like, all right, she won. And we're like, all right, so what are we going to have her do? And they were like, what?
Yeah. I mean, shotgun a match with her and Jamie Hayter. Like, that is interesting, but I just, Yuka Sakazaki is very fun. her music is Dance Dance Revolution. She basically is one of the characters in the game. Awesome, neat, whatever. But like, we really think she's going to win the championship?
Yeah, or this match or anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
This is just,
Come on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But as you mentioned, after Mariah May and Serena Deeb get the victory, Mina Shirakawa, she comes up there and she's like, Mariah said, you want me? You want me? Well, you gonna get me because I'm coming.
Well, I think part of it was she was like, I was absolutely disgusted by what you've done. I don't even know you anymore. But yeah, I miss you too. So yeah, I'm gonna be there. And it was like,
it makes sense,
All right.
Friends sometimes like that.
No, hey, look, I've been there. I know her. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, you suck. You are a miserable human being.
Pick you up too.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about a different. I was talking like from a friend's perspective. You're talking.
That too. Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mina Shirakawa, I believe after Mariah May wins her match at Grand Slam, this is probably where we're going to see Mina, but we shall see. Again, Grand Slam next week. It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about when it happens.
A lot of stuff. Yeah, I'm excited.
Then we get a video package of Nigel McGuinness, and this fucking ruled. He basically was
more technical difficulties than we do to try to start an episode.
Yeah, but look, I mean, how many times is Jim Ross and Monday Night Raw and Jerry the King Law? They technical.
True.
Okay, it's live.
True.
We're live,
live.
pal.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they got right back to it.
And look, I've seen him miss shots on the NFL, right? Seen him throw touchdowns that we didn't see on the TV,
And Excalibur filled pretty well, right? Until we got back to the package there. So we got this highlight package, and Nigel McGuinness does an amazing job of basically just saying, like, people forgot who the fuck I am. I was supposed to be Bryan Danielson. And look at Bryan Danielson. Basically saying, I'm paraphrasing, I'm better than that motherfucker, and he knows it.
Well, and everybody else in the video cemented that too. They were like, yeah, he's always been jealous of Bryan Danielson and wanted to be what he was. Like the whole time they were just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of sad, really. Yeah.
Well, because they also acknowledge how good he was. It wasn't like it was, some curtain jerker who said they could be the main event and never could do it. It was like someone on his level who actually has a couple wins over Bryan Danielson saying that should have been me. That's an interesting story because it is a good motivation. Now, we still don't have the match official because Bryan Danielson hasn't been cleared. Again, we're recording this on a Thursday night, so Saturday's Collision hasn't happened. Maybe we get some advancement there, but
I feel like
what do you think happens?
I feel like we get up to the day of, right? Nigel McGuinness is ready. He's like, he's not here. He's a chump, whatever. We get Bryan Danielson kind of ready to go, but not because he's going to fight, right? And then something happens therein, right? The real story. Mox comes in and they in this match before it can really happen or something, right? Like, I feel like maybe that's where we're going.
Well, one thing, and maybe my dumb brain didn't catch it, but one thing I haven't heard with this match is it's for the AEW championship. So far, the only thing that I have heard is
Agreed.
This is
I don't
just
think it is. Yeah, it's just
Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson. So Bryan Danielson coming in at 10%, losing, right? Because then he's still got to be active because he is the champion.
He's champion,
right?
So he's not retiring, right?
Not retiring, so you could do something like that.
Just lost to Nigel McGuinness for no reason.
Yeah. Well, but it's Nigel McGuinness, right? It's the Joker to his Batman or whatever the fuck you want to call it there.
Funny if Brian twists him like a pretzel in 2 minutes and makes him tap.
Get the fuck out of here. Go back to calling my matches, you bitch. Yeah, that would be fun. But we actually kind of got a little bit of that with Jon Moxley next, walking up with Marina Shafir and Claudio. And before they can get to the ring, here comes Private Party. And here's the thing. Tim, I've told you this before. I'm going to keep saying it because I don't like it. It's you've put yourself in a dead end and there's no way out. Marina Shafir here starts beating up on Private Party. We know Private Party isn't going to punch her. It's like the Rhea Ripley thing over in WWE. If you can't hit back, this is fucking stupid. Like, you know what I mean? I just, it's frustrating.
Then they should almost address that, be like, oh, you're going to use a woman to beat us up because we can't fight her back, right? Like almost challenge Moxley's actual, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to do, but we kind of make her also, okay, I don't want to rant, but I'm really trying to like Marina Shafir because Jon Moxley likes her and I love Jon Moxley. So if Jon Moxley sees something in her, I should try, right? But this brain neutral dum-dum, they put one of the private party guys hands behind his back, right? So if my hands are behind my back, where would you hit? The face.
You hit him in the face. What'd she do?
Yeah, what does she do? Kicks his leg. Fucking idiot. What was that?
Sometimes, man, sometimes you're thinking and things are just going too fast, man, and you just, you're on autopilot.
It's exactly that. It's, hey, we need you to hit pads here. And the first thing that she probably does when she hits pads is throw a low kick. It's just like, but don't. God, you goof. Like, oh, that was so bad.
I will say this has been a theme over the 10 plus years we've been doing this because of your deep connection to MMA world and your own personal training. You viewed those folks who come in with the MMA, background, and I think you despise their fake attempts of worked, worked fights. Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't, I mean, it is fighting, right? But it isn't. So like, stop. You know what I mean? Fucking stop.
Yeah.
If you really want to do that, go to a jiu-jitsu tournament, go to a kickboxing tournament, go join.
But
don't put it in my show. Don't put it in my show. It just, it's so goofy. Yeah. It's just bad. But she beats him up, right? But here we go. We get the real thing from this segment with Jon Moxley grabs a hammer and says, "Private Party, you've been here since day one. And look at you. You're still in the same spot you were at day one. And I'm going to do something." Basically, I kind of felt like he's saying, like, I'm going to save you from what we're about to do to the rest of this company, and breaks his hand with the hammer. That's how I took it, at least.
Well, I think he said, like make you go through adversity or something you haven't done yet, right? Let's go give some adversity, and I guess breaks his hand. Yeah.
Now the other guy, what do we do with him?
Do we have a planned vacation for a private party or something? Like, why do we build this in? I don't know.
Well, so it's violent, right? And private party is a group that you can beat up, and
maybe they come back. Maybe they're hardened now, right? They went through the adversity that Mox. Maybe it actually maybe as cruel as Mox's methods are, maybe there's a method to the madness.
Well,
he's not being like philanthropic, Tom.
Well, hold on. It's not like we haven't seen that before. As I mentioned, the Rampage match with Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta, he fucking made Wheeler Yuta bleed out damn near his whole blood in his face.
That man.
And then he joined the
tough competitor. He's won titles since. I mean, he doesn't know which way is left and right now, but that's not here nor there.
That doesn't matter. So maybe that is what he's doing. Yeah, whatever. Those are just some letters, right? A, B, C, CTE, whatever. X, Y, Z. Yeah, whatever. Not where's she at? What happened? Anyhow.
Getting a divorce, I think.
Oh, was she married? I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know if they were married.
I tell you what, Adam Cole does one jump off of a stage and then his life just crumbles. Anyhow, that's just been shit down all the way since there.
He needs a turnaround. We'll say that.
He needs a hug. But I did feel like Jon Moxley was saying, maybe I just took it this way, and in the chat, let me know what you guys think. It felt like he was saying, you're going to go through adversity, but also get the fuck out of here. I'm going to make you get out of here because
you're going to do it on the sidelines because I'm coming through. Right.
Yeah. Cause like what we're about to do to everyone, it's almost like he likes them, right?
He pitied them. Yeah. He pitied them. So instead of murdering you, I'm going to maim you so you won't be here to get murdered.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
I'm going to put you at the kids' table. The adults are going to go talk in the other table or in the other room. And there we go.
This is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you, kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely like that.
Yeah, they said, Wrestling with Norwood Everett, Pod said he did say he was giving them a gift.
Yes. Now, a gift for us was the next match. Ricochet versus the Beast Mortis. The Beast Mortis needs to be on the fucking marquee. This is a guy that you look at twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like I'm ready to get a Beast Mortos shirt. Right?
Yes.
I want to tell people about Beast Mortos, right?
Yes.
They'll be like, what is that? I'll be like, oh, Beast Mortos.
Mm-hmm.
And then
because here's the thing. Now, I read today on some suggested post that the Lucha Brothers are gone and signed WWE, which breaks my heart because
sad.
It breaks my heart because of this. They are unique. And this is where I've always wanted AEW to kind of dive into that. As much as I love Ricochet and Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson, those are all Hangman, it's kind of fits what I'm about to say here. But when you get these, I look twice kind of characters, like an Orange Cassidy, like a crazy Hangman right now, like the Beast Mortis, that's what gets people to come back, right? No offense, but Ricochet, who's awesome, right? He's fucking awesome. A casual fan isn't going to remember. I saw
somebody
him.
say I still liked him better as Prince Puma, and
if he came as Prince Puma, maybe you know what I'm saying. Like that's more eye catching, right? I remember that. I know what that looks like. No offense to him, and I get that he has tattoos and he looks unique. He's not just generic, but like he kind of just looks like a wrestler. You know what I mean?
Give him props on his promo later, which we'll get to. But
yes. But what I'm saying is the Beast Mortis needs to be the one that's like pushed on the posters. That's the guy when you're walking and the billboard has him up there. You're like, what the fuck is that thing?
And if you get to tell people, be like, by the way, he wrestles in this mask. And I don't mean is laying on a guy on the ground. Dude is doing the flips and shit. And
this match ruled. So we get a 450 splash. We get
all of those things. Yeah.
Oh my God. I got so choked up.
Yeah.
You're taking over.
So many things you couldn't contain them at one time, and they all just try to come spewing out of your mouth at one time. Yeah, we got the flips and shit. We got the I can't even. I don't know the moves and the names.
I don't. It doesn't matter.
It's not our style. But I mean, there was kicks to the back of the head. There was flips. They did all the. There was one of those runs where they're trying to like sweep the leg left and right on each other. That was really well choreographed. That's the thing that I would like to give them really high praise on this one, because I say one of the reasons I don't like this style of match as much is because my brain won't let me not see the moments when I stood up too fast and now I gotta act, like I can't stand for 20 seconds while the guy steadies himself on the top rope. The timing, if you're gonna go this route, it better get like it's gotta look real, and they did this really goddamn well, man. They were on point. Liked it. So
Ricochet gets the victory, but the Beast Mortis looks fucking awesome. More beast. That's what I say.
More beast. We've always said
that. Yes, always. That's one of our mottos. I think it says All Elite Wrap Up.
More beast.
More beast. Yeah. Now here we go. I almost jumped off the horse for this next segment. Tim. Tony Schiavone's in the ring. And he's like, hey.
Like that.
We're gonna bring out Hangman Adam Page.
Like that.
And he goes, Hangman? I'm paraphrasing here again. It's our show. What the fuck? And Hangman says, hey, I knew this day was going to come when I took out Swerve, but you motherfuckers are still chanting his name. And you know who's chanting his name the most, the loudest of all of them? Looks at Uncle Tony, not Tony Khan. Fuck that. Tony Schiavone, everyone's favorite uncle, Tony Schiavone. Hangman, I love you. You're my favorite wrestler. Look right here. There it is. You're on my wall. That means you're one of the greats. God damn it, Hangman, you don't go after Tony Schiavone. You don't do it.
Now listen, though. Hangman has done nothing wrong. And Tony was cheering Swerve. Wouldn't you be upset?
Here's what I'll say. I don't believe that Tony Khan has cheered for anyone other than
Tony Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone. What I say?
Khan.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone has only cheered, in my opinion, for Britt Baker and his AEW career. Right. That is his friend. We know that.
He'll rail against folks quicker than he'll cheer for somebody. I'll give you that.
Yes. So I believe he was just saying what he saw. So Hangman, just saying. But
look, we've both said it, and Lisa from the Wrestling with Neurodivergence pod thinks I bring up a valid point, and I think I do. But I was also kind of cheering Swerve at the same time. There was a dichotomy. That storyline was beautiful that way, right? It was like, I mean, I see a little bit of both. You know what I mean? You're both doing some fucked up shit here, and meh.
Yeah, and so what we get is another fucking crisis of conscience that I have, because who comes out for the fucking save? Jeff Jarrett. Now I got to cheer for Jeff. Hangman, what the fuck are you doing, man? What are you doing to
This
me?
is not
God?
fair. You cannot keep doing this to me. The Wrestling with Neurodivergence pod also says they do have an audio clip on their show of Tony Schiavone chanting CEO. There's been another person he's cheered for.
Yeah, but isn't that just fun to say? I don't like her, but it is fun to say.
Wanna,
You know,
CEO.
Yeah,
you found yourself sometimes. You're probably sitting there chopping carrots or something. You're like, CEO. CEO. God damn it.
You know,
Son of
you know. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, where were we here?
Jeff Jarrett comes out.
Jarrett comes out. And you brought up a good thing. And is why is he wearing black gloves?
Why does he always wear gloves?
And it's only because he doesn't want to be leaving fingerprints when he's lifting stuff in the back, right? Like that can only be it.
Or, you know, he's doing some real shit, selling that gold again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's selling that gold again. Doesn't want his fingerprints on that. Yeah. Yeah. Those gold on his hands. But yeah, he wears gloves and he cuts a good promo here, right? He's like, hanger, which again, fucking cut it out, Grandpa. He's like, I'll be damned if you touch Tony Schiavone. And you know what? I'm gonna kick your ass.
Here's the best part, though, that I was honestly, and I this is where they missed me a little bit because it's Jeff Jarrett, and he comes out to like, don't you dare lay your hands on Tony Schiavone, and he runs out there and immediately starts getting his ass whipped. Hangman is throwing him around the ring, dragging him along. I mean, I made it our damn thumbnail. Dragging him along, throwing him out into the crowd and everything. And it wasn't until like security comes out and separates before Jeff Jarrett can finally get up there and say, you think I'm going to let you? Be like, yeah, I do think you're going to let me because I just kicked the shit out of you when you tried to stop it.
You know, it's fine, right? That's fine. But here's the thing that also maybe doesn't make sense. If you're friends with Jeff Jarrett, right? Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal.
Why did you help him beat us? Yeah.
Why don't you run out there with him?
The guy laid hands on your friend's wife. You're not going to help him in his quest to like.
Yeah,
Did they also lay hands on his wife? Anyway, all right. Never.
Hey.
I just asked a question. I didn't.
That is true. You just asked. Just asked. So it looks like we're going to get Hangman Adam Page and Jeff Jarrett in a match. Okay.
Gee, I wonder who wins.
If I will fucking jump off a bridge if Jeff Jarrett beats Hangman Adam Page. Oh God, don't do that.
Before you've promised to streak if I think a positive thing happened. I forget it, but this you're jumping off the bridge.
I will jump off the bridge.
They're working on the bridges down there.
Buck O'Neill. Yeah, I'll go right there.
Just go right off
out over there.
Just bucket list off the Buck O'Neill, right?
Yep. All right.
See what's on the line, Hangman.
Yeah. So
you better not get injured and pull up lame in this match.
Yeah. Burn him down. Yeah. Burn him down. Damn it.
Yeah. Let's not. That's a storyline. I want to make sure.
Yeah. Again, he goes by his real name, so it's hard to differ. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. We don't need the evidence of me saying, "Please burn down Jeff Jarrett's storyline. Burn his storyline house down." Yeah.
Story. We get another interview. Renee Paquette, again, who I forgot was on the show last night. I apologize. She tries to interview Ricochet, but Will Ospreay interrupts. And Ricochet talking that shit, boy.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm here. And what's funny is everyone's calling me out, and ain't no one calling out the champ. Fucks up with that. And by the way, don't tell me I got to get my wins up. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. I'm Ricochet. Yeah. You might be on another level, but I'm the fucking god of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Nick Gage, motherfuckers. And basically it's like, you know what we're going to do? On Thomas's birthday, I'm going to beat your ass for that championship, which also happens to be on a Wednesday night, AEW's 5th anniversary show, October 2nd.
He said it exactly that way.
I think that is. I'm reading what he said. Quote, I'm doing this
on
match
Tom's birthday.
On Thomas's birthday for him to enjoy. This is my birthday gift for Thomas. That's what I read.
Because I love the podcast.
Obviously, everyone's listening. Yeah, he's been in the chat before. And here we go. We get Ricochet, Will Ospreay, and it ends with Ricochet saying, "See you real soon, little bro."
Little bro.
You don't do that.
I do like that. Yeah, Osprey came up to kind of be like, "Hey, look, I know I was heated. Sorry," and he's like, "Nah, cool. We're heated now, man. Fuck that. You brought it. It's done now. We ain't going back." And you know what? I like his over. Like I think summarized point was, yeah, man, you were right. What you said. Like everybody's like, man, Ricochet. If I could be like Ricochet, if I could do things like Ricochet, but like, man, I don't hear anybody saying that about you, huh? Like. Right, so my win's up, huh? Okay, right. Like I think that was kind of his, a theme there, which was amazing. I loved every second of that, and then he just turns his back and walks away, leaves him there like a bitch. I like that.
Yeah, and he called a shot. It's going to be on a big show. That's fun. This is how you do it. Sometimes you don't have to wait for a pay-per-view and then do a he said, she said, no. Sometimes it's just like, hey, no. You want to fight? We're going to fight on this date. Yeah. See what happens. Let's see what happens.
You were the greatest knowing I was in the back?
You ain't.
Mistake.
Boy, you ain't.
Mistake.
But then we get to our main event, the Dynamite main event time, trios match. It's the Elite, Young Bucks and Okada versus Will Ospreay, Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher. Fun match.
It was a fun match. And we got all the big spots, right? And that's, you know, and maybe I've said this before, but this style of wrestling that we've kind of mentioned already tonight, I kind of liken it to, feels like an action movie scene, right? That the stunt people did, right? Like there's a lot more of those kind of like, and now all three of us are standing right next to each other and we all jump over the top rope at the same time and we all hit an elbow at the same time. While I appreciate the synchronicity of it, right? You know, again, I'm of the type of like, if I'm putting myself in the kayfabe world, I'm watching a live fighting organization and like, that's the shit that gets you killed trying to do stupid, cute stuff like that, right? So it's kind of, that's why it's not my favorite style. But again, these are some of the best at it. So they're, you know what I mean? They're hitting it well and they're doing it great. And the match was good. And there's some storytelling elements here that we're doing with these characters. So I appreciated it.
The thing that I will say that I like the most is when the Young Bucks and Okada tried to do their pose, and then the three of them kicked them out of the ring, and then they went out of the ring, and then they did the pose again with it's this and the, you know, stuff. So I like that. That was fun. But yeah, it was a good match. And this is where I was kind of saying, you know, it happened. Things are moving along. And so, we get Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita win the match. They pin Matt Jackson, which credit to him. Oh man, that's what happened. My sound changed because my computer's about to die. So
look, peek behind the curtain. I sent Tom a message. I was like, "Hey man, the sound changed. Your microphone." No. All right. Don't look behind the curtain, folks. Do not look behind the curtains. We're over here.
Well, you're either going to get this weird sound or you're going to get nothing because my computer's at 2%. I don't know why it's about to die, but that's how computers work sometimes. But now it's charging, so we're going.
Okay, all right.
So let's get back.
So if Tom dies, it'll be back to me again. We'll figure this out. Well, if Tom's computer dies, not if Tom dies. If Tom dies, there'll be a job opening on the AEW Wrapup. But what?
Keep it going. Keep it going.
In spirit, Tom would want the show must go on, right?
Oh, obviously. Yeah. Yes, always. But we get Takeshita, Ospreay, and Kyle Fletcher. We get some weird thing at the end where like the United Empire. Here's the thing I'll say about this, Tim. I don't know about the United Empire as an AEW fan. So when you tease and they look at it and they're like, huh, I don't know. The only thing that I know is the United Empire is the hairy guy with Kyle Fletcher. And that's the United Empire, right?
Yeah. The upside down pair with the mustache.
Yeah, but Will Ospreay, I mean, okay, but now.
Yeah. Mark Davis,
why is that so
that's
great?
his name, I think.
Yeah.
Two generic names, right? So, and like, is he, because I felt like we were like, I thought that wasn't gonna be, Mark Davis and Kyle Fletcher are Aussie Open. I felt like we were putting such an emphasis on Kyle Fletcher because they weren't gonna do them anymore, right? I thought maybe he was hurt and not coming back. That's the feeling I got. Then they wrestling with Neurodivergent Spot said, and then with Will you get United Empire.
Yes, because actually we saw that in Kansas City.
Yep.
Remember, Will Ospreay came out and it was the United Empire, and
that.
they lost to the
Yeah, we had floor
FTR and
seats.
Trent. Yeah,
Ballers.
They lost to FTR and Trent. Don't
did.
forget that.
That's right.
So,
yeah, isn't that that was right about the start of FTR's I Love This Business diatribe, because he went on one of those, and we were all like, that's heartwarming. And then he hasn't stopped saying that since.
Yeah. And keeps on going.
Yeah.
And that's fine, right? You love something.
I mean, he loves this business. That's how he feeds his family.
I mean, that's what a job does.
Yeah.
Right? That's what that's why we're all doing the shit.
Oddly enough, I feed my family with the money I make from my job.
Yeah. What is happening there? Isn't that wild? Yeah. Crazy. You're so unique.
It's neat. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the
episode. The money from my job and my wife's job. I'll say that too. It's not just my
yes.
money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's more hers than mine.
Caveat in there. Props.
Yeah. But that was the episode. Next week, Grand Slam. And then we're gonna get all the fun shit. We're gonna get Darby and John Moxley. We're gonna get, I assume, Danielson and Nigel McGuinness.
Are we gonna get next week? Are we gonna be watching Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness wrestle? If I would have told you that just a couple months ago.
No,
I mean, I guess maybe we thought there was some flirting with Nigel McGuinness, talking so much smack. But even at the turn of the year, when we rebranded All Elite Wrap-Up in January, if I was like, yo, we're going to get McGuinness versus Danielson, you would have been like, no, that ain't happening, dog.
Yeah, in New York, and Bryan Danielson's going to be the heavyweight champion. I've been like, what the? That's a lot of shit.
On Collision, FTR and Outrunners with Hook.
Yes.
Or whatever, just pod said here in the chat.
Yes, All-Star tag match. Outrunners are, I saw
FT Outrunners, right? Isn't that the
FTR? Yeah, FT Runners. Yeah,
FT Runners.
Here's the thing I saw, and I thought I sent it to you, or maybe you sent it to me, and that's how I saw it. And this is a fucking real fact: is the Outrunners and FTR are the same gimmick, except for FTR wants you to think of how the 80s used to be, and the Outrunners are how actually the 80s were.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Like
that's the difference in the gimmick, yeah.
That's the difference is, though, if you go back and you watch Big Bubba Rogers or you watch, Bobby Eaton, it's more like the Outrunners than Arn Anderson, FTR.
A lot more yelling and a lot more colors.
A lot more flexing.
A lot more flexing.
Dudes with attitudes. Remember them? Shane Douglas and John Laurinaitis.
Yeah.
It came down.
There wasn't a whole lot of bringing my daughter around and talking about my feels and how much I love this business.
There was no pappy stuff. There was Surfer Sting. There was Flexin' Lexin.
Well, there was
Lex
some pappy
Luger.
stuff. Smoky Mountain Range. There was a lot of pappy stuff going on down there.
What I mean? But yeah, the 80s were, because it's also like one thing that I also saw that I think I also sent you was a meme where it said what people think the 80s were, and it was like neon colors and like skates, and it's like what the 80s actually were, and it was like an ashtray at a McDonald's. Because there was a smoking section.
It was like, yes, a kid blowing out his birthday candles right next to a lit cigarette over an ashtray with an open beer right next to him. It's like the 80s.
Yeah. That's the 80s, goddammit.
That's the 80s I remember. Yes, indeed. And that feels like the Outrunners, right? That
yes, exactly.
Like FTR, right. The 80s, the Outrunners feel like riding with no seatbelt in the back of a car with the windows all the way down while my parents and their friends hand beers to each other across the other vehicles, right?
And you hear, and the soundtrack's Bob Seger.
Right.
You know what I mean?
My parents were the that 80s disco country folks, right? The Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton.
Yeah. Reba McEntire, all that kind of stuff.
That, yeah.
Yeah. No, my parents were classic rock. It was CCR. It was Bob Seger. It was Eagles. It was all the, Tom Petty, all the bullshit like that.
So that was my parents. And then my brother was like hair metal. He was like Def Leppard, Motley Crue. So growing up, I just thought music sucked, right? I was just like, I guess music isn't a thing, right? And then like Nirvana came around. I was like, okay, all right. Yeah. And then it was on. Yeah.
While we're talking about music and while I'm sharing, because again, I just feel so in the need to share, I guess, the best music ever, in my opinion, is early gangster rap, like Coolio.
Oh yeah,
because they're all figuring it out. It's the funniest shit to listen to.
Yeah, it's gangster, but there's also the like, and then hip hop,
hey,
shoot a cop. It's just like, wait a minute, it don't quite mix, right? Yeah, yeah, I agree. It was a weird time. All right. Anyway, not to disparage. I mean, probably my favorite musical genre is the hip hop. But yeah, you're right.
But it's
early
just fun to listen. Yeah, when they're figuring it out, it's the best. Hip.
I feel like we could make a video. I feel like we could go viral here.
Oh my god, that's the best. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the Outrunners. I love the Outrunners. I think they're great. I think they need to dial it up a little bit more. Because now they're starting to go into the youngest men alive and like these fun little catchphrases, and that's fun, but that's not really the 80s, right? I need baby oil. I need
one where I saw where they were talking about how they like trained I figure like Tito Santana or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we do. We need some baby oil.
Yeah, they saw Mark. They saw Mark.
Yeah,
Calloway.
Mark. That's what they were like, Mark. Yeah. So I said, "Listen, Mark." When then I found out that was his name, which was cool. That's a nice little touch. Yeah, the Outrunners are something I'm looking forward to see where we go with them. But yeah, we need more. We need more 80s. We need the baby oil, right? We need, gosh, we just need that. I guess you can't be smoking on TV, right? So they're probably not doing cigarettes or something.
Yes, you can.
More 80s,
yeah,
right?
No, smoke indoors. Fucking go to Seattle. That's all they did apparently.
Yeah. We got to get all the 80s cars. We got to get them in like shag carpeted rooms, wood paneling.
Yes. A T-Bird fucking going down. So they
baby oiled up RJ City on Hey EW. I haven't seen this episode yet.
Oh, I have. It's the best. But Hey EW, when they have episodes like this where it's kind of good wrestling and all of it was good wrestling, but didn't really progress too many stories, throw in a Hey EW. Just throw in a 5-minute Hey EW. I think that's great.
Yeah, let's get a little between two ferns action.
That's what basically Hey EW is.
Hey EW is, right? Like just a little 5-minute blip of it right there. Would be great.
Here's my takeaway though from last night's episode is we're going into Grand Slam. It feels like Grand Slam is going to be a massive fun event.
A big time deal. Yeah.
Big time event, big time fun. But we need to, like you said, this is a transition because no Mercedes Moné. What's happening to the TBS championship, right? There you go. What happened to Statlander? She beats Willow and then we just don't see her. That was the best women's match of the year. Probably my favorite women's match of all time. Then you have MJF who, Daniel Garcia, who gives the pile driver and then just we don't see him.
Run. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Swerve Strickland, and I get why we were having, but like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, the thing that I would say about AEW, in my opinion, and I don't want to like run people in the ground, but also they don't do house shows. So kind of fucking step up a little bit is we need the top people being the top people. I need the Young Bucks wrestling on Collision. I need John Moxley on Rampage.
We could tell some of these stories on those. I know there are some mild stories that are told on Collision and Rampage, right? And they stay on like Collision and Rampage. But we could tell some of the main stories, some of the offshoot portions of it on a Collision and Rampage, right? Now, if they're worried about ratings not coming over, but I'll say one of the reasons I don't make sure I watch Collision is because you're not telling me the stories that I've been following on there,
Yeah, but I just need the star, right? Like I need consistent. If you're going to tell me a Young Bucks story right now, fucking every episode needs to be that story. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't
even know if I necessarily needed that. I just need like you were saying, like we haven't heard anything about Swerve. Well, like, can we do something on Collision about Swerve, or can we do something like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Can Mercedes open up Collision and talk about who's going to be her next challenger? Where's Britt Baker? Can we have Renee Paquette do Britt Baker's being, serving time for a suspension? Because remember how she got suspended, so we re-suspended her or something. You know what I mean?
Adam Pearson just joined the chat. He says, "Good evening, gentlemen." Who I think he does mean evening because I think he's here in America right now.
Yeah, dude, he's
Not to
doing
give
all the
away his
press for-
geolocation for any snipers
No,
or
yeah,
anything. Like,
but he's doing all the press for A24. His movie, it comes here in Kansas City
dude,
at
I'm
the
excited.
Armour Theater. Yes, I am so pumped for this guy.
Excited.
If you don't know who Adam Pearson is, first off, look him up. You fucking will be a better human for it. Second, longtime friend, supporter of the show. We actually did his podcast. I remember that European Uppercut. Remember that? Wow, when he used to do that little
The European Uppercut. I forgot about the European Uppercut. Was Adam Pearson involved in that also? There was a whole bunch of Europeans involved in the European Uppercut. A lot of uppercut.
I did an interview I did an interview on my lunch hour in a car with no air conditioning, and it was one of the hottest interviews I did, but I had such a great time. But huge wrestling fan. Got a new movie coming out. It's gonna fucking rule. Can't wait to see it. Dude, yeah, it's so great to see him or hear from him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Adam Pearson is awesome, one of our longest friends, and unfortunately, we were getting ready to wrap up unless you had some any interesting wrestling topics that anybody needs to throw in here before we get out, but I think we'd covered Dynamite, and we're getting ready to move into Grand Slam.
Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about Grand Slam. What are you looking forward to? What do you think is going to happen?
I think we're going to get more in the storyline with Mox, right? Like, I think there's going to be a major storyline point, but as of yet, and I like this, I really don't know what. That's really
who wins?
Huh?
Who wins, Moxley or Darby?
Oh, Moxley wins somehow, but I think it's going to be through something, right? They do something bad to Darby, right? And he just looks brutal.
He mentioned last night, because Darby, again, ended the segment when Private Party, but he kind of didn't do much. It was weird kind of standoff. But Darby did mention, hey, I'm going to, beat you, and then in my home state of Washington, beat Bryan Danielson for the championship. You're not going to have Darby Allin on a Washington State pay-per-view? Like, you know what I mean?
Adam Pearson brought up, which, by the way, Adam Pearson is one of the few people who was a receiver of one of the Spanish announce table shirts. Quick and easy delivery. Super quick and easy delivery with those shirts. Yes. Anyway, he says, Are you ready for the Vince documentary on Netflix? I just don't know if I'm going to... I don't know that I want to watch it, to be honest with you, right? Because I don't like...
Here's
what
I'm
going to watch it, I guess, at some point, but...
I'm interested to see what they say, because Bill Simmons is a WWE mark, but he's also wanting the rating. Like, I know it's Netflix, but wanting the ratings, wanting the attention. He did the Andre the Giant documentary really well. I like that one a lot. Here's what I think I'm going to be sad from. I think I'm going to be sad from, hey guys, Vince kind of has a bad side, but he also has a good side. And it's going to be people that I really like a Stone Cold Steve Austin or a Mick Foley. And that part is going to break my heart, where it's like, guys, I get it. He fucking changed your life. He also changed another woman's life for the worse.
Yeah.
So, like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Like,
Yeah,
I know. There's a lot of weird politics for those people involved, and so far be it for me to tell them their truths, but like, it just feels, it does. Yeah, I do feel a little of, I'm like, oh, you really had to like sugarcoat it, for this, like.
Yeah. That's the part is I think they are, because I think from what I read, they are going to address the Janelle Grant situation. So,
sure.
Okay.
One of
interested,
probably hundreds, but yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm interested. Like, are you going to talk about the ref from the 1980s? You're going to talk about Pat Patterson maybe doing some weird stuff with the roadies? Like, what are we doing there? You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to watch. But, actually, let's wrap this up with another cool thing that I'm going to watch on Netflix. It's called, what was it called? Damn it. It's on Netflix. It just debuted. It's called The Queen of the Villains, and it's about Dump Matsusato and the Crush Girls. So it was a Japanese wrestler in the 1980s. She was main eventing with Medusa in front of 40,000 in the Tokyo Dome, I think it was, or the Egg, one of those two places. It is in Japanese, so you do have to read it subtitles unless you know Japanese. But check that out.
Don't anymore.
Yeah, it's called The Queen of the Villains, I believe. Let me look it up, because I do want to make sure I'm right on that. It is Oh goodness. Of course, now I can't find it. Yep, it is called that.
All right, it is called that.
Yep.
Well, so check that out. That's Tom's Netflix recommendation. But also our recommendation is to check out A Different Man. Look that up and find that where that's coming to you. And check out that movie,
yes.
from our good friend Adam Pearson, which is just awesome. Like, I said that to you. I was like, remember back in the day when we were in the radio station and we had like 300 tweet the tables and Adam Pearson says, I was at the A24 office today and they gave me loads of Iron Claw merch. That's awesome. That's cool. But I said all those days back there years ago and we had 300 tweet the tables. If I would have said then, one of these guys is going to be featured in an article from People. Like, would you believe me? Would you believe me? And not of yourself, of course, right?
Yeah, well, I definitely thought
one of these dozens of folks in this crazy, weird world of that podcast world that was that back in those days. Yes. One of these days they're going to be featured in People.
Yeah,
someday.
I'm so proud of him. Definitely go see his movie. Like I said, check out the document or the miniseries Queen of the Villains about Dump Masasato. And AEW Grand Slam next week. Nigel McGuinness, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, Young Bucks versus Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. We got a lot of fun shit, brother.
A lot of fun shit, brother. And we'll see you in here next week. So a reminder, all of you, go to alleatewrapup.com, subscribe to that, send us some emails, donate if you got it, if you want it. Check all the links, follow us on the threads, and then join us. Oh, he did USA Today this morning too. See, he's just, look out, man. You work hard at stuff, right? You can achieve your goals and your dreams, and you can spread good messages while doing it, right?
Yes.
Let Adam be your proof. And then, after you do all that, join us right here next week for more All Elite Wrap Up.